We live in an age that worships multitasking. Do more, achieve more, be everywhere, all at once. But what if that very mindset, the one we've been taught to celebrate, is quietly draining our focus, creativity, and peace of mind? What if the real power comes from doing just one thing, fully? Today, we're going to uncover the hidden power of single tasking through the timeless lens of Eastern wisdom. Because while the modern world tells you to speed up, the East has whispered the same message for centuries. Slow down and see clearly. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Multitasking feels productive, but it's not. Every time you switch tasks, your brain pays a heavy toll, like a computer constantly closing and reopening programs. You lose focus, emotional clarity, and depth of thought. Psychologists call it attention residue. Ancient teachers called it mind scatter. In Buddhist philosophy, a scattered mind is compared to a monkey jumping from branch to branch, never finding rest. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." And when your mind is split between 100 unfinished thoughts, you don't just lose efficiency, you lose yourself. The Western world calls this burnout. The Eastern world calls it restless suffering, the unease that comes from being pulled in too many directions. Now, here's where things get radical. In Taoist philosophy, there's a concept called Wu Wei, meaning effortless action. It doesn't mean being lazy. It means moving with total presence so that your actions flow naturally, without inner friction. When you single task, you enter that state. You're not rushing or resisting, you're simply here. In Zen practice, monks sweep the floor not as a chore, but as meditation. The act of sweeping is the act of focusing on this very moment. Nothing else exists. That's the secret behind the hidden power of single tasking. It's not about doing less, it's about doing fully. Think about it. When was the last time you drank your morning coffee without checking your phone? When was the last time you finished a conversation without glancing at notifications? Each small act of single tasking reconnects you to the present, and that presence is where clarity lives. What if focus isn't something you have to fight for, but something you return to? Imagine the eye of a storm winds raging around, yet the center is perfectly calm. That calm is your mind. When it's allowed to rest in one task, one thought, one breath, you don't create focus. You reveal it by removing the noise that hides it. This is why the ancient sages taught silence before speech, stillness before action. They understood something science is only now beginning to confirm. Your brain performs best not when overloaded, but when undivided. So how do we reclaim this hidden power in daily life? Start small. When you eat, just eat. When you write, just write. When you rest, really rest. It sounds simple, even obvious, but simplicity is often the hardest discipline. Because single tasking forces you to meet yourself in the silence you've been avoiding. And in that silence, uncomfortable truths can surface. Your fears, your impatience, your self-doubt. That's why the East calls focus not just a skill, but a spiritual practice. It's not about control. It's about awareness. Lao Tzu once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." When you bring that truth into your modern life, you'll notice something subtle. Your stress lowers, your work deepens, and your energy returns. This is the paradox of single tasking. The less you divide your attention, the more whole you become. There's a quiet revolution waiting inside your daily routine. Every focused moment rewires your brain to crave depth over distraction. It teaches you that productivity isn't about speed, it's about alignment. The Japanese call this ichigyo zamai, one practice, absorbed completely. When you do one thing with full attention, your mind and your life begin to synchronize. And that's when the hidden power of single tasking reveals itself not as a technique, but as a way of being. You start working with life, not against it. You start flowing again. If you've been feeling scattered, drained, or constantly behind, remember this. You don't need more hacks. You need more presence. The East has known this truth for thousands of years. Now it's your turn to rediscover it. Focus on one thing today. Do it with your whole heart and see what happens next. Because sometimes the quietest path leads to the loudest transformation.